You, in some ways, you want to get people to read on these devices, and in some ways, books are a little bit like beer in the fact that they're difficult to move around in large numbers. This is what came up with the idea with your background in the brewing industry, selling beer, and you also got a partner you started with who used to be involved with Amazon.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. So, just take us through. So the two of you sat down, and then what happened?
Well, David Risher, he's a great guy. Yeah. He lived in Barcelona. He was taking a bit of a sabbatical. His background's in Microsoft, one of the top 10 executives of Microsoft, and number 2 in Amazon, and started Amazon. So tremendous entrepreneur. And David and I knew each other through our daughters, and we'd always remained good friends. I'd helped him out on a number of projects in education at our kids' school, and he'd helped me out at the business school. And then one day, we just sat down with a Kindle. He showed me the Kindle. And it was a super simple device. This is, about 4 or 5 years ago. And, in the following few days, I had a few thoughts about how that could be applied, knowing about, as you say, beer distribution. It's like you don't transport water halfway around the world because it has no economic sense. And that's part of the reason you don't transport paper or books to certain parts of the world. Paper doesn't reach certain parts of the world because it's heavy. And it's cheap and low value. It has no economic sense to deliver it. But with the e-reader and with mobile connectivity, it seemed so logical that this device, actually I'll have an e-reader here, this was the Amazon one,
okay.
And David and I developed this, is really to say, where
simple.
This can go, simple, and wherever you can get mobile connectivity, wherever in the world, that means you can get a book on a device like this.
So who are you aiming at with this? You say children, yes, but I mean children where? What kind of children? Underprivileged children, or who are you aiming at?
Well, our mission is to get books to all, frankly, and that's to everyone. And really the sort of neglected part of societies in developing countries are the schools, are the kids themselves. And in a sense, we're going really for the hardest piece, because as entrepreneurs, we realize if we want to do this in a big way, we could start an easy way, we say, top down, do this with adults or universities. But we're going for school children in the developing world and in the hardest part, arguably, of the developing world in sub-Saharan Africa. And we know, as we prove it's possible to execute this successfully there, you can do it in any part of the world.
So how does it work? I mean, it sounds great. You've got a child in a village, say here in South Africa, you can suddenly get one of these and get textbooks for school or whatever. But surely, aside from the connectivity, don't you need like credit cards and money and things to make it work? Is it practical?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Actually, if you just step back, actually, this is no more than a device.
Yeah.
Amazon, this is the Amazon, and they're the market leaders.
Yeah.
But they have their own commercial model around this. But stepping back from that, you can imagine that, at the end of this is a device, and that you could have free books from the government on here.
Yeah.
Or, for example, you could have, as you buy, phone time, you buy voice time and data time now prepaid at the traffic lights. You type in a code, and you have $1 or $2 to spend on books instead of call time. And what we're doing is really painting this world, which is a very simple and existing. All of the elements in what we do exist already, and we're just joining up the dots. We call it joined up thinking. That if you bring all of this together, it is possible to get books wherever in the world, whatever type of book as well. We often think of textbooks and readers, but you can have a 10-page book or a 1,000-page book. It could be about sports. It could be about Barcelona or about Nottingham Forest or Fulham, or it could be about science, or it could be romance. And everybody is different. And the way we really realize that, the way you get people to read is not to say, I think you should read this book about social science. It's actually give them the choice of what they want to read, and they'll get the drug of reading. And the simplicity of this is that with a device like this, or a mobile telephone, let's say, and connectivity, you can choose exactly what you want to read.
So you've got something like, you reckon you've reached about 500,000 children In Africa alone, what countries are you operating in?
Okay, well, we work on two platforms. So, on the mobile phone, we're actually right across the developing world in over 100 countries. And we have 5 million people over the last year, this is only a year old, have downloaded the app that we have. It's called the Worldreader mobile app. And so that's growing, that's enormous. And what we realize is that's great. Most people have a mobile telephone, even very, very poor people. They invest in $20, they save up, and they'll buy time to talk and to use their phone. So that's the mobile phone platform. On the e-reader platform, we have just over 10,000 kids in sub-Saharan Africa in 6 countries. We're in Ghana, we're in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania. And what we're doing is, like, because we're from business, we're saying, like, this is the solution. Prices are coming down, and there's a sweet point at which prices will come together. And we're planning for that. The last 3 years, we've been planning for that moment. And so we're piloting to demonstrate to governments and to big agencies like UNESCO and USAID that this works. So you need time to do that. And this is the whole thing about, in business, you do exactly the same. You don't just rush in and say, I've got a new idea, I'm going to throw this at the market. And my new toothpaste, I don't know anything about the market, but I'm going to sell them. What you do is you research and you refine. And we've spent the last 3 years refining the technology, refining the content, and refining how we're going to execute. So that when we come to scale, and we're at that point now, we can credibly say we can get to millions of people.